Be kind to nature. The announcement came over the huge speakers next to the stadium lights. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the 23rd annual Big Movie Night at the Broward Nature Reserve. Welcome, teachers and students from MS 342, the William Heath School. A big cheer went up on the left side of the field. Welcome, teachers and students from Glover Academy. Another cheer went up, this time from the right side of the field. And welcome, teachers and students from Beecher Prep School. Our whole group cheered as loudly as we could. We're thrilled to have you here as our guests here tonight, and thrilled that the weather is cooperating. In fact, can you believe what a beautiful night it is? Again, everyone whooped and hollered. So, we are prepare the movie. We do ask that you take a few moments to listen to these important announcements. The Broward Nature Preserve, as you know, is dedicated to preserving our natural resources and our environment. We ask that you leave no litter behind, clean up after yourselves, be kind to nature, and it will be kind to you. We ask that you keep in mind that as you walk around the grounds, do not venture around the orange cones at the edge of the fairgrounds. Do not go into the cornfields and the woods. Please keep the free roaming to a minimum. Even if you don't like watching the movie, your fellow students may feel otherwise. So please be courteous. No talking, no playing music, no running around. The restrooms were located on the other side of the concession stands. And after the movie is over, we will be quite dark. So we ask that all of you stay with your schools as you make your way back to your buses. Teachers, there's usually at least one lost party on big movie nights at Broward. Don't let that happen to you. Tonight's movie presentation is The Sound of Music. I immediately started clapping, though I'd seen it a few times before, because it's Via's favorite movie of all time. But I was surprised that a whole bunch of kids, not from Beecher, booed and hissed and laughed. Someone right on the right side of the field even threw a soda can at the screen, which seemed to surprise Mr. Tushman. I saw him stand up and look in the direction of the can thrower, though I know he couldn't see anything in the dark. The movie started playing right away. The stadium lights dimmed, and Maria the nun was standing on the top of the mountain, twirling around and around. It had gotten chilly all of a sudden, so I put on my yellow Montauk hoodie and adjusted the volume on my hearing aids and leaned against my backpack and started watching. The hills are alive. The woods are alive. Somewhere around the boring part where the guy named Rolf and the oldest daughter are singing, "You are 16, going on 17. Jack nudged me. "Dude, I've got to pee," he said. We both got up and kind of hopscotched over the kids who were sitting and lying down in sleeping bags. Summer waved as we passed, and we waved back. There were lots of kids from other schools walking around by the food trucks, playing with the carnival games, or just hanging out. Of course, there was a huge line for the toilet. "Forget this. I'll just find a tree," said Jack. "That's gross, Jack." "Let's just wait," I answered, but he headed off to the row of trees at the edge of the field, which was past the orange cones, and we were specifically told not to go there. And of course I followed him. And of course we didn't have flashlights because we forgot to bring them, and it was so dark we literally could not see 10 steps ahead of us. As we walked towards the wood, luckily the movie gave off some light, so when we saw a flashlight coming down on us towards the wood, we knew immediately that it was Henry, Miles, and Amos. I guess they hadn't wanted to wait in line to use the bathrooms either. Miles and Henry were not talking to Jack, but Amos had let go of the war a while ago, and he nodded hello as we passed by. "Be careful of the bears," shouted Henry, as he and Miles laughed as they walked away. Amos shook his head at us like, "Don't pay attention to him." Jack and I walked a little farther, and we were just inside the woods. Then, when Jack turned around in a perfect tree, finally he did his business, though it felt like it was taking forever. The woods were loud and strange noises and chirps and croaks, like a wall of noise coming from the trees. Then we started hearing loud snaps not far from us, almost like a gun, like pops. that definitely were not insect noises, and far away, like another world, we could hear raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. Ah, that's much better, said Jack, zipping up. Now I've got to pee, I said, which I did to the nearest tree. No way I was going that far in like Jack did. Do you smell that? It smells like firecrackers, he said, coming over to me. Oh, yeah, that's what it is, I answered, zipping up. Weird. Let's go. Alien. We headed back the way we came, in the direction of the giant screen. That's when we walked in straight into a group of kids we didn't know. They just came out of the woods, doing stuff I'm sure they didn't want the teachers to know about. I could smell the smoke now, and the smell of both firecrackers and cigarettes. They pointed a flashlight at us. There were 6 of them, 4 boys and 2 girls. They looked like they were in 7th grade. What school are you from? One of the boys called out. Beecher Prep, Jack started to answer, but when all of a sudden all of the girls started screaming, "Oh my God!" she shrieked, holding her hand over her eyes like she was crying. I figured maybe a huge bug had flown into her face or something. "No way!" one of the boys cried out. He started flicking his hand in the air like he had just touched something hot. And then he covered his mouth. "No freaking way, man. No way." All of them started half laughing and half covering their eyes, now pushing each other and cursing loudly. "What is that?" the kid who said, pointing the flashlight at us. It was only then that I realized the flashlights were pointing right at my face. And that's what they were talking about, screaming about. They were screaming about me. "Let's get out of here," said Jack to me quietly. And he pulled me from the sweatshirt sleeve and we started walking away from them. Wait! Yelled the guy with the flashlight, cutting us off. He pointed the flashlight right in my face, and now he was only about 5 feet away. Oh, man, he said, shaking his head, his mouth wide open. "What happened to your face?" "Stop it, Eddie," said one of the girls. "I didn't know we were watching Lord of the Rings tonight," he said. "Look, guys, it's Gollum." This made his friends laugh hysterically. Again, he tried to walk away from them, and again the kid named Eddie cut us off. He was at least a foot taller than Jack, who was about a head taller than me, so the guy looked like he was huge to me. "No, man, it's an alien," said one of the other kids. No, man, it's an orc," laughed Eddie, pointing his flashlight at my face again. This time, he was right in front of us. "Leave me alone, okay?" "Or leave him alone," said Jack, pushing his hand, holding the flashlight away. "Make me," answered Eddie, pointing the flashlight in Jack's face now. "What's your problem, dude?" said Jack. "Your boyfriend's my problem." "Jack, let's go," I said, pulling him by the arm. "Oh, man, it talks," screamed Eddie, shining the flashlight in my face again. Then one of the other guys threw a firecracker at our feet. Jack tried to push past Eddie, but Eddie shoved his hands back into Jack's shoulders and pushed him hard, which made Jack fall backwards. "Eddie!" screamed one of the girls. "Look!" I said, stepping in front of Jack, holding my hands up in the air like a traffic cop. "We're a lot smaller than you guys." "Are you talking to me, Freddy Krueger?" "I don't think you want to mess with me, you ugly freak," said Eddie, and this was the point where I knew I should run away as fast as I could, but Jack was still on the ground, and I wasn't about to leave him. "Yo, dude," said a voice behind us. "What's up, man?" Eddie spun around in the flashlight towards this voice. For a second, I couldn't believe who it was. "Leave him alone, dude," said Amos, with Miles and Henry right behind him. "Says who?" said one of the guys with Eddie. "Just leave them alone, dude," Amos repeated calmly. "Are you a freak too?" said Eddie. "They're all a bunch of freaks," said one of his friends. Amos didn't answer, but looked at us. "Come on, guys, let's go. Mr. Tushman's waiting for us." I knew that was a lie, but I helped Jack up, and we started over to Amos. Then, out of the blue, Eddie and his guy grabbed my hood, and when I passed him, yanking it really hard, so he pulled backward, and I fell flat on my back. It was a hard fall, and I hurt my elbow pretty bad on the rock. I couldn't really see what happened afterward, except that Amos rammed into Eddie like a monster truck, and they both fell down on the ground next to me. Everything got really crazy after that. Someone pulled me up by the sleeve and yelled, "Run!" and everyone else screamed, "Get him!" At the same time, and for a few seconds, I actually had two people pulling my sleeves of my sweatshirt in the opposite directions. I heard them cursing until my sweatshirt ripped, and the front guy yanked me by the arm and started pulling me behind him as we ran, which I did as fast as I could. I could hear footsteps just behind us, chasing us, and the voices shouting and the girls screaming, but it was so dark I didn't know whose voices were who, only that everything felt like we were underwater. We were running like crazy in the pitch black, and whenever I started to slow down, the guy started pulling my arms. "Don't stop!" Voices in the dark. Finally, after it seemed like forever running, someone yelled, "I think we lost them." "Amos?" "Yeah, I'm right here," said Amos' voice a few feet behind us. "We can stop," Miles yelled farther up. "Jack?" I yelled. "Whoa," said Jack. "I'm here." "I can't see a thing." "Are you sure we lost him?" Henry said, letting go of my arm. That's when we realized he'd been one of the ones who was pulling my arm as we ran. "Yeah, shh, listen." We got to the super quiet, listening to footsteps in the dark. We could hear they were crickets and frogs and our own crazy panting. We were out of breath, stomachs hurting, bodies bent to our knees. "Oh, we lost them," said Henry. "Whoa, that was intense. What happened to the flashlight?" "I dropped it." "How did you guys know?" said Jack. "We saw them before. They look like jerks." "You just jammed right into him," I said to Amos. "I know, right?" laughed Amos. "He didn't even see it coming," said Miles. He was like, "Are you a freak too?" And I was like, "Bam!" said Jack. "Bam!" said Amos, throwing faint punches in the air. But after I tackled him, I was like, "Run, Amos! You schmuck! He's 10 times bigger than you!" And I got up and started running as fast as I could. We all started laughing. I grabbed Augie and I was like, "Run!" said Henry. I didn't even know it was you pulling me," I answered. "That was wild," said Amos, shaking his head. "Totally wild. Your lip is bleeding, dude." "I got a couple of good punches," answered Amos, wiping his lip. "I think they're 7th graders. They were huge losers," Henry shouted really loudly, but we all shushed him. We listened for a second to make sure no one else heard him. "Where the heck are we?" said Amos. "I can't even see the screen." "I think we're in the cornfield," answered Henry. "Duh. We're in the cornfield," said Miles, pushing a corn stalk at Henry. "Okay, I know exactly where we are," said Amos. "We have to go back in this direction. That'll take us out to the other side of the field." "Yo, dude," said Jack, hand held high in the air. "That was really cool of you guys to come back. Really cool, thanks." "No problem," answered Amos, high-fiving Jack, and then Miles and Henry high-fived him too. "Yeah, dudes, thanks," I said, holding my palm up like Jack had, and I wasn't sure if they would high-five me too, and Amos looked at me and nodded. "It's cool you stood up your ground, little dude," he said, high-fiving me. "Yeah, Augie," said Miles, high-fiving me too. You were littler than you guys." I didn't know what else to say. I laughed. "Very cool," said Henry, and high-fived me too. "Sorry I ripped your sweatshirt." I looked down at the sweatshirt. It was completely torn down the middle. One sleeve was ripped off and the other was still attached, out here hanging down to my knees. "Hey, your elbow's bleeding," said Jack. "Yeah," I shrugged. It was starting to hurt a lot. "You okay?" said Jack. Seeing my face, I nodded. Suddenly I felt like crying. I was trying really hard not to do that. "Wait, your hearing aids are gone," said Jack. "What?" I yelled, touching my ears. The hearing aid had definitely were gone. That's when I felt like I was underwater. "Oh no," I said. That's when I could hold it any longer. Everything had just happened, kind of hit me, and I couldn't help it. I started to cry, like big crying, what Mom would call like waterworks. I was so embarrassed. I hid my face in my arm, but I couldn't stop them from coming. "You okay, dude?" "It's okay," they said. "You're one brave little dude, you know that?" said Amos, putting his arms around my shoulders. And then I kept crying. We put both arms around me like my dad would have done, and they just let me cry.